Okay, so sleep. Sleep's something worth talking about here. We don't use these computers anymore, and I don't have a tripod. You can see that? I was gonna actually write this on this board, but it's not showing up. I'm just gonna use the power of Hollywood magic. It's much easier this way. Why I don't sleep. So it's pretty well known that we don't sleep too much here. I think that's something that everyone just kind of assumes of, first of all, college kids, but secondly, like people who go to like more advanced kind of schools. Not to brag or anything, but like we get significantly less sleep than like the average college student. Like so much so that it actually makes headlines sometimes. There have been studies done that show that like we just don't get any sleep, and they can produce all these fancy numbers and all these cool graphs, but it just comes down to it, we don't sleep. Allow me to explain using this incredibly overpriced whiteboard, which I don't know what we have. We have a perfectly good whiteboard here, and it runs on non-battery powered dry erase markers. Okay, so like every human being on the face of the planet, I only have 24 hours per day. This is important. This plays a factor. Okay, so in the rules here at West Point, it states that for every 1 class hour, we have to spend 2 hours of prep. What does that mean? Basically it means for every credit hour you have, you double that, and that's the extra work you're supposed to put in. So say on average we have 4 classes per day and a lab. That's pretty run of the mill. That's what I had for 2 years at least. 4 hour long 1 hour long classes. That's a total of 8 hours of prep plus 1 hour lab / lecture. So just like that, that's 13 hours. Okay, cool. So we got class out of the way. 13 hours totally accounted for. But hey, that means I got like 11 hours, right, to do whatever I want. Easy, right? No. Okay, so assume like normal human beings as well, I need to eat. That's pretty sound logic, right? Conservatively speaking, I'll say eating 3 meals a day, I'll call that 90 minutes. Cool. And typically before each of these meals, or at least before most meals, I have a formation, and I'll spend around 30 minutes per day getting to, walking from, and standing in a formation. Formation. So that's an easy 2 hours. And if you add that to this 13 hours, now that's 15 hours. I'm not even gonna bother fixing that. Okay, so I've got academics out of the way. I've got food out of the way. That's still 9 hours to do whatever I want, right? Not quite. So as most of you know, you have to participate in a sport or a club or something that's required typically after 4. It could be parade practice, it could be team practice, it could be whatever intramural sport that you play. Typically that time can be taken. And that's always 2 hours. Drag that all the way to this one. Wham bam, there's 17 hours. Okay, but you know, that's still like what, 7 hours? 7 hours of sleep, that's not bad, right? That's also not totally what you're doing for that amount of time, because on top of everything else, we also have our military duties. And conservatively speaking, I'll count that in as like, I don't know, like 30 minutes per day, assuming you do your job. 30 minutes per job. And this can be either like you gotta clean something, or you have to counsel someone, or you gotta do whatever you need to do. And then of course you just gotta, you know, assuming, you know, 30 minutes of just doing any miscellaneous things you have to do, filling out little bits of paperwork, doing normal things like showering, kind of important, or stupid crap that I'm doing here, like writing on an expensive whiteboard at late at night. So there's another 30 minutes. You combine this together, bada bing, now you have 18 hours. Okay, so 6 hours, not ideal. 10 technically carcinogenic according to some studies, but that's 6 hours of sleep. You can do that. This is also assuming that you fall asleep the second you hit the pillow. So say getting ready for bed and then actually getting to bed and then getting all cuddled up in the covers and then texting your girlfriend or boyfriend good night and then actually falling asleep. I'll give that 30 more minutes. So basically you're 18.5 hours accounted. So that's what? That's like what, 5.5 hours of sleep? Assuming all of this goes perfectly and you have nothing else you need to worry about. So that's a whopping 5 hours, 30 minutes of sweet relief. Have I accomplished anything by explaining all of this to you? Did I have some grand scheme of solving many questions or answering any deep mysteries? Nah, not really. I just felt like complaining. There's a poster in our hallway of my department, and this guy's supposed to be holding a miniature crab. This picture's so big, it's like the size of an actual crab.